Thank you for sticking with me. And thanks for inviting me back into your day. On this reboot episode of The Digital Keep, I'll explain the hiatus, talk a little about AI, and make an attempt to separate fact from hype. Then I'll lay out the path ahead. All this on today's episode of the reboot of The Digital Keep. This is The Digital Keep. Welcome to The Digital Keep. I'm Guy. This is a show about people, technology, cybersecurity, and networks. It's a show for people trying to build legacy. So allow me to kick off this reboot with a little walk down memory lane. November 2023. That's when I joined Universal Creative to lead the park-wide wireless architecture and do some OT cybersecurity stuff for Epic Universe. The scope? Well, that was full wireless systems delivery across the entire park with a team that consisted of 3 direct report contractors and 1 intern. What did done mean when we got to the end of the project? Well, it meant that all wireless systems were fully operational. Wi-Fi, two-way radios, wireless hand packs, even the wireless communication in some of the stage shows. Tuning surveys had to be complete and turned over to operations so that they could use that information to tune all of the networks. But by May 31st, 2025, the reduction in force hit myself and many other people. This is normal operating procedure. Big project requires a staff up. During the staff up, you've got a whole lot more employees. But at the end of the project, there's nothing for them to do. So you got to let them go. I get it. I have no hard feelings. I loved my time at Epic Universe. I'm proud of what we built there. Honestly, it makes me happy every time I see a YouTube video or a Facebook post of a family sharing their time at Epic Universe. And the smiles on the kids' faces when they see Toothless fly or their wand makes magic happen in a window. All those have wireless technology tied to them. And my team made that happen. But what came after May 31st? There was a job search. I had to go and find a new job. So from June through September, I submitted over 300 applications and did 70 plus interviews. Man, there was a grind. I was relentlessly digging into LinkedIn, trying to find the right job, trying to find something that would be exciting and challenging. And along the way, I learned how to create a website. So I built my portfolio site and I started this podcast, The Digital Keep. But on a Wednesday afternoon in mid-September, late September actually, I was distraught. I was sad. I was depressed. And I was at my wit's end. I had done everything I knew how to do. The portfolio, the podcast, the applications, the interviews. But on that Wednesday afternoon, I did the math and realized I only had about 60 days worth of financial reserves left. And I sat down on the couch and I prayed. And I told God I'd done everything I knew how to do. All the things I just said. And I just said, God, it's yours. And I turned off the notifications on my phone. Thursday came. I didn't search for a job. I didn't even check my email. And I didn't do anything on Friday or on Thursday. On Friday, I didn't do anything again. Friday afternoon, my phone with notifications turned off buzzed. I looked at it, and the summary on the lock screen showed a job title, a company name, and a summary saying, "Are you interested in this role?" I didn't open the email. I put the phone back down. But all through the weekend, that kept gnawing at me. The title of lead OT cybersecurity kept coming up. It just stayed on my mind. Well, Monday morning came, I opened my email, and I saw that there was an email, a LinkedIn message from the recruiter. Also saw that there was another email from a Disney recruiter, from Disney Cruise Line. So I scheduled the interview with X Energy for lead OT plant cybersecurity, and I scheduled the interview for Disney Cruise Line to be their first OT cybersecurity engineer. On Tuesday, I had the interview with Disney Cruise Line. On Wednesday, I had the interview with X Energy. On Thursday, I interviewed with Disney Cruise Line's leadership team. And on Friday, I interviewed with X Energy's Chief Information Security Officer, or CISO. Well, the following Monday, I got a job offer from Disney Cruise Line, and Tuesday, I got the offer from X Energy. So I had a decision to make now. I went from distraught with no prospect to now having to decide between two jobs that I was very interested in. The X Energy role was a leadership role, and the salary was a bit higher. But what really intrigued me was the vision. The vision that already existed with the CISO to build a team. The mission was also exciting. Securing operational technology for the TRISO X fuel plant. Groundbreaking, challenging, meaningful work. But on the other hand, there was Disney Cruise Line. To say no to Disney after all of the great work I did there, all the great people I worked with, and all the things I learned while at Disney, and to be able to step into the reputation I had already built within the company, that was going to be a tough thing to say no to. But ultimately, I chose X Energy. Now, the hiatus for this podcast was really so that I could focus 100% of my effort on finding that job within that last 60 days of financial cushion that I had. And I did. But now I had to choose. And I finally landed on X Energy, which also meant that I had to relocate to Tennessee. Now, if you're not familiar with X Energy is a next-generation nuclear energy company developing advanced small modular reactors, or SMRs. TRISO is their HALEU, which stands for High-Assay Low-Enriched Uranium, fuels production facility. This was going to be a tremendous challenge, a first of its kind. I was going to have to find a way to secure the manufacturing plant, following all of the things I learned at Disney and utilizing every tool that was in my toolkit from my SANS courses and certifications. When I took this role, I knew it would be exciting. I knew it would be a challenge, and I was right, but I didn't fully understand what was at stake. When you're first, there is no playbook. The cybersecurity work my team does for this fuel operation doesn't just protect X energy. It may well shape how every future advanced fuel facility in the country is regulated from a cyber perspective. That's a legacy. Now, I have no delusions of grandeur. This is not going to be my name going down in a history book. Nobody's ever going to know who I am. But the systems we build, those systems are the legacy themselves. And that's one of the most exciting things. But as I said, I now had to relocate from the Central Florida, Orlando area up to the Knoxville area in Tennessee. And I had to do it in 6 weeks. Now, if you've ever bought a house, you know that from the time you say, this is the house I want, to the time you close, it's about 4 weeks. So the hiatus is also due to the fact that I had to now relocate my family at the end of the year, in between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and, get myself up to Tennessee, then establish myself, start building my reputation within this new company. And I did it. It happened. Then, of course, the holidays came around. And then, of course, there was the continuation of building this new program, this new thing. And so, yeah, the podcast slipped a little bit, but we're back. So here I am in this new city, this new role, facing new challenges. And one of the biggest challenges I see in every industry, but especially in our industry, whether you're an OT, IT, administration, you name it, every job right now is trying to find the right tools to do the right job. And every sales engineer is telling you that their tool is the right tool and that it's AI enabled. But almost nobody is stopping to ask, is this actually AI? So much of what companies are selling today as AI is actually a machine learning model, a narrowly trained pattern matcher with a polished interface on the front end. And it's not thinking. It's not reasoning. It's finding the most statistically likely output based on what it's trained on. That's powerful. But it's not what a lot of people think of as AI, and it's definitely not what the marketing says it is. When most people think of AI, they think of a machine that thinks like a human. So let me break down the 3 layers of AI first. The first layer is what I just mentioned, machine learning. This is actually what's being sold most of the time. It trains on data, finds patterns, and then makes predictions. It's narrow. It does one thing, and it does it really well. Examples of this are fraud detection, or recommendation engines, or predictive maintenance alerts. It's AI-powered dashboard tools, anomaly detection products, software as a service with AI features. The next layer is generative AI, large language models, or LLMs. Think of ChatGPT or Grok or Claude. A genuine step forward, but still not fully thinking the way a human does. Pattern completion versus just pattern recognition. But it's happening at a massive scale, and it's taking general information from a larger base, the whole internet, and every user that's on its platform. It's finding the next most useful word or idea based on the context that you give it, the prompt. It's incredibly useful, but still not general intelligence. Then there's the top layer. Artificial General Intelligence, or AGI, what most vendors imply when they say AI. This has general reasoning across any domain, the way a human thinks. It's not currently commercially available, but this is the ghost these companies are selling you. The Federal Trade Commission put out guidance saying specifically, AI is a marketing term. Furthermore, a study found roughly 40% of startups calling themselves AI companies don't actually use AI in their products at all. And in 2025, MIT did a study that found 90% of businesses that tried AI implementation found zero value because they built use cases around the buzzwords instead of building tools around a real world problem. But here's a bit of a nuance. What I'm definitely not saying is I'm not saying machine learning isn't powerful. It absolutely is. I use AI tools every single day in my work. I'm saying know exactly what you're buying. Ask the vendor what model they're actually using. Find out what engine is under the hood. What's powering this AI on the back end? Ask whether it's trained on your specific data or on generic data. Ask what it cannot do. Find out its limitations. The best technology decisions I've ever made started with honest questions about what the technology actually is. Not what the slide deck says it is, not what the sales engineer wants you to buy, but what it really does. And when you find that out, you figure out what it can do for you and how it actually applies to what you're trying to solve. That's as true in theme park control systems as it is in a $50 a month software as a subscription service. So ask the questions, dive a little deeper, push those sales engineers to answer the question of what problem is this actually going to solve? Now, before I finish this short reboot episode, I want to share something that I've been kicking around for a few weeks. See, this show has always been about the people who build things, systems, teams, legacies. If you're here, you're probably one of those people. Someone who builds the infrastructure others depend on. Someone who invests in the people around them. Someone who thinks about the long game. I'm going to start calling this community, you, keepers. You keep systems running. You keep knowledge alive. You keep the next generation moving forward. Welcome to this community. You've earned the name, keepers. Now, here's what you can expect going forward. New episodes about every other week. That's my baseline. But since this is a living show, there may be shorter episodes in between or shorter drops in between. When something worth talking about happens in the industry, or something that I just find really interesting that I want to share, or somebody even asks me a question that triggers, hey, this might need a quick plain English, plain language explanation. Think of the bi-weekly episodes as the main course, and the in-between as things that I just couldn't wait to share. On the next episode, we're going to talk more about technology, mentorship, followership, and of course, building your legacy. And I think you're going to want to bring a friend for that one. So stay tuned, keepers. The doors of the digital keep are back open. Until next time, watch the walls, mind the gate, and build your legacy. Thanks for listening to The Digital Keep. Drop a comment below. Hit like and subscribe. It helps people find the show.